In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what to do if the law of attraction isn't working for you. If it's not working, all you have to do is do these three things and everything will become easier. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you three things that you can do to make the law of attraction work, and really what to do if the law of attraction doesn't appear to be working. Now, the reason I say doesn't appear to be working is because the law of attraction is always working. There just may be times when we are creating more of an experience on subconscious of that of resistance. So we always get a reflection of what we believe to be true, and we always get a reflection of who we are being. You may have heard my earlier YouTube videos from back in the day. I used to always say that you don't always get in life exactly what you want, but you always get a reflection of who you are being. Now, there are times when some people may say, hey, the law of attraction doesn't work. And if they believe that the law of attraction doesn't work, then the belief will give the reflection. What we get in reality is a reflection that the law of attraction doesn't work. Now, of course, the funny thing is that we are using the law of attraction to affirm that the law of attraction doesn't work. So that person will go out into the world, will attract to them situations that reaffirm that belief that the LOA doesn't work, but the LOA is always working whether we are aware of it or not. It just may be that what we are doing is selectively seeing certain things in our life, and we're not seeing the correlation between what we are thinking to what we are experiencing. So here is one of the fundamental bases of this video. Before we even get into the three things that you can begin to pay attention to, it's knowing that you are so powerful that you are always creating something in your life, whether you're aware of it or not. Now, you don't have to try to manifest anything. It's a natural byproduct of your state of being. It's a natural byproduct of how reality works. So versus trying to have to create something, know that it's just a side effect of you being yourself. It's a side effect of you choosing and focusing in a certain direction. I would say one thing that I've really paid attention to in my life and becoming successful, whether that's online with online business or having that of this YouTube channel that's grown very quickly, it has been of me focusing in a certain direction. Focus is where there is so much power, and in order to get momentum going, sometimes in the beginning, it takes a certain amount of focus to get there, because it's almost like there is a ball rolling down that of a hill. And in the beginning, especially if it's a heavy rock and you're rolling it, what would happen is it would take some effort in the beginning, but eventually, after you focused on it, you pushed it a certain amount, the momentum starts to carry itself, and that's why things actually normally get easier, because the momentum is already there. So if you find that things aren't happening, it may be simply that there needs to be a little bit more momentum, which means a little bit more focus. Don't give up. Understand that this is about not what you will get from what you want to manifest. It's about who you will become. You know, they always have been saying this quote lately because I think it is so true. But you ever seen when they ask people who are successful, who have millions of dollars, they say, what would you do if you lost all your money? And they almost always say the same thing. They say, I would just create it again. I would just go out there, figure out what works, and I'll do it again, because once I've done it, now I know I can do it. So it's the same thing when it comes to the kind of person you become. But if you focus on just the end result, just the little side gadget thing that you'd get from certain type of manifestation, then it's not, the focus isn't on the totality of who you become. So that's the first part of this process. So the first part I want to share with you, if you find that the law of attraction isn't working, is understanding that it is always working. It's just how aware are you of it working for you, how aware of what you are thinking to what you are experiencing. But here's the other thing. Focus on your state of being. How do you feel about what you're focusing on? How are you feeling right now? Normally what we do is we tell ourselves in our own mind, we say, I will give myself permission to feel positive emotion once I achieve X, Y, or Z. And by making that declaration, even at a subconscious level, we then put our happiness on hold. That's when we have it backwards. You see, we normally think that we need to wait to feel a certain emotion, and by waiting, we actually put off the manifestation happening quicker than ever. It's backwards. So instead, if we simply feel good now, things would happen even easier. I've noticed this in my own life. When it comes to my state of being, if I'm in a great state of being, things just continue to happen in a great way. But if I'm waiting and I'm giving myself permission only when I've achieved XYZ something, then it ends up taking even longer. More resistance is created along the way. So for this process of what I'm sharing with you, is if you can focus more on just feeling good in the present moment, on being passionate about what you're doing, you'll find that you attract things much faster anyways. So don't let it be something that's backwards. And it's a funny idea too, because many times we think that once we hit our goal, we will feel happy. And if you've heard, there are some people, or many people, that become millionaires, win the lottery, and they're not necessarily happy because they've trained themselves to only be happy in the future, and the future doesn't really exist. The key is to condition the happiness now, and by conditioning the happiness now, you achieve success faster than ever. By doing what you're passionate about, that's why they always say, do what you're passionate about, you generate a certain state of being, a certain emotion that attracts more and more success to you. So what are you focused on, and are you doing what you're passionate about? And if not, what I encourage you to do is to start to focus on more activities that will get you to a certain state of being. Ask yourself the question, what is the most exciting thing I could be doing right now? Maybe it's something small. Maybe it's just like I feel like going to the park and going for a walk. I'm gonna walk my dog. I'm gonna go get something to eat in the kitchen. I'm gonna go and read a book or take a bath. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be the overarching thing that you will always do every single day in your life, but the things that you do that you're passionate about, when you generate a certain state of being, it trickles on to every other aspect of your life. So this is something that I began to do. I began to ask myself the question, what is the most exciting thing I could be doing? I realized that the more videos I created, the more passionate I felt. So I dedicated myself to making more videos. That's when I was able to go full-time with my passion. That's when now I live this ecstatic expression of doing what I love. And that's why I love helping other people do the same thing. Because when you are in that passionate state, so much then begins to happen. So the second thing that you can do in order for you, if the law of attraction isn't working, in order for you to really attract what you want, has to do with letting go of negative emotion, letting go of resistance. Because when we carry around blocks, resistance, and we carry this around with us, this will actually block us from experiencing that which we want. Now, here's a cool idea of the way I think about manifestation. Manifestation and the law of attraction is not about us attracting something outside of our lives into our lives, so something from over there into here. It's more about making what is currently invisible to our perception visible. It's things that may have always been there. There may be opportunities in your life that were always sort of there, but you just weren't perceiving of it because of the certain state of being, kind of like we were talking about with the first one. So what this means is that when we let go of resistance, that's where everything begins to happen. Now, how do we let go of resistance? We have to first off become aware of it, and we have to allow it to be there. That's the second step. This seems paradoxical. Well, if I allow it to be there, am I going to attract more of it? But the thing is when you allow it to be there, it's no longer resisting it. So you can't, it's almost like you're resisting resistance if it needs to be different. And the more you focus on anything, the more it grows. The more you focus on the resistance and how it shouldn't be there, you're trying to change it, the more that it won't actually change. So the paradox is be aware of the resistance you have, know why it is there, and you could simply do that by saying, what would I have to believe is true for this to be there? And then what you can do is let it be there. This is the biggest paradox. I remember when I first learned meditation, the biggest game changer that absolutely transformed my life was when I was meditating the second or third day in, because the first 2 days I didn't really experience much. I ended up feeling resistance because why isn't this working? It's supposed to be working. What happened was is I let the thoughts be there. The first 2 days, I was like, oh, the law of attraction. I can't think these negative thoughts. So I was like, can't think negative thoughts. And I ended up bringing more of them in. And I just felt more and more resistance. The third day, something happened. I said, you know what? I'm going to let the thoughts be there. I'm going to observe the thoughts as they come into my mind. As they come into my mind, I'm going to look at them and then let them go. It's going to be like I'm at a park on a park bench and I'm watching people walk by. Just let them walk by. I'm not chasing them. I'm not asking them questions. I'm not just watching them walk by. So that's what I did. I just watched my thoughts as they came into my mind, as they left, and something happened. Something totally changed my life. Then what happened is I started to become more present to the moment. I started getting into more of this observation state of being. And in this observation state of being, everything began to change. I began to feel more present. I began to realize that it's more about how can I embody more of how I prefer to be now than trying to get somewhere in the future. It changed everything. And that was through observation. So if you're experiencing resistance, the paradox, the power is in observing the resistance. Let it be there. It's okay. And as you let it be there, it will naturally subside. Think about it like this. Think about it in a way. Our ego sometimes could be like a toddler. Let's use that analogy. Don't mean to dock down to our ego, but our individual egos. But in a way, if you argue with a little, like a 2-3-year-old toddler, like you can't do this, blah, 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 they'll keep fighting. They'll keep arguing with you. But if you were just to observe them when they're having a temper tantrum, let them do what they do, eventually, if you ignore them or you just observing them, you're not fighting or feeding whatever they're doing, eventually they're going to get tired, they're going to go take a nap, they're going to get distracted, they're going to go do something else because you're not feeding that reality. In the same way, our ego works in a similar type way. If we are constantly trying to control everything and we are feeling that resistance and we're fighting with it, it has something to feed on. But if you observe it, it doesn't have any content to feed on as much because you're not attaching yourself to it. So that's something that if you find the LOA isn't working, the law of attraction, all you have to do is observe the thoughts that come in, observe the resistance, find out why it's there, ask what would I have to believe is true that it's there, and then you'll find that it starts to naturally go away. It may just be there because it may just be some attachment you have to thinking that it helped you at some level. Whatever it is, I have a lot of videos on beliefs and how to let go of negative beliefs. That's what that'll help you do as well. But in general, what you can begin to do is to just let go of the outcome by simply observing it as it comes in and letting it go. Third thing you can do if the law of attraction is not working is understand this idea. This idea has totally changed my life and a lot of other people I've shared it with. The true degree of change is not whether the outside changes at all. Now understand, life in a way is like a mirror. It is always mirroring back to us our state of being, our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. Now, because it's like a mirror, we'll always get a reflection of who we are being. Now, the true degree of change is not whether the outside changes at all. It's whether, even if the outside doesn't change, our internal mechanism of how we feel has changed. Now, let me say that one more time in a little bit different way. The true degree of change is not whether the outside changes at all, but it's whether on the inside we are so non-moving, we feel like we are changed regardless of what the outside looks like. Even if the outside doesn't change, we have changed on the outside, on the inside. We have already changed on the inside regardless of what happens on the outside. Now, the paradox is when you become completely okay with where you are and you are just knowing that this is who you choose to be, the outside ends up changing anyways. But the thing is this is the reason so many people don't get their manifestation or create what they want in their life. They keep peeking. They keep looking around. They're like, okay, just like you'd go over to a mirror, you'd look at the mirror, you know that you must first change before the mirror changes. But many people, they're looking at the mirror like, once you change, then I'll change. Once you change a little bit, then I'll change my reflection. But it's not the way it works. So the key to this is to stop peaking, to stop thinking that the true degree of change is whether the outside actually changes. It's whether the outside can remain the same, but your inside has changed. And sometimes this is the thing. With manifestation, there are times that something will happen in your life that will appear to be the same thing that has always happened. But if you respond to that same thing that has always happened in the same way that you used to, then it's showing that you haven't changed. So the key is to change regardless of if the outside changes, which means you're happy, 100% okay right now, you're whole and complete right now. And then this is what happens. You let the old momentum run itself out. You may find that you keep getting the same thing that you got last time, but it's okay because you're letting go of the momentum. Just like if you had like a wheel that was spinning, even if you stopped the momentum of propelling it, it may still spin for a while. That's momentum. Let it die out, but don't get mad if it's still dying, if it's still going for a little bit. Find that when you start to observe more of your internal state of being, the one thing that we always have the ability to control is how we relate to the outside environment. So this is where the power is. Understand there may be something you're doing, and maybe you keep getting that reflection. Maybe your intention is to attract a certain amount of money or to get a new job, and what happens is you go and you keep getting rejected at getting a new job. You keep not doing well at the interviews or whatever it is, or you think you're doing well but you're not getting the results you want. You start to change on the inside. You start to feel that change. You go to an interview and you still don't get the job. Well, if you give it the meaning that it means that you still haven't changed, then what happens is you continue to perpetuate that reality. But remember, the true degree of change is not whether the outside changes, it's whether the outside can remain the same, but you have changed on the inside. So if you go forth, you know what? Maybe that's just momentum. You go to the next job interview and you feel even more on point. Then what happens is you continue to get into this state and you don't let that bring your set point down. So you move on and you keep getting better, and then you actually get the job because you are not dependent on the outside circumstances. You choose to change because you prefer to. This is where all the power is, and this is what I encourage you to do. Understand that if the law of attraction isn't working for you, that it may just be one of these three things. That when you do one of these three things, everything in your life will begin to change. But realize that at the fundamental core, the law of attraction is always working. It's just how much can we be aware that the law of attraction is working. Now, first off, remember, the state of being is the most important part of this process. Feel happy now. Things will happen faster than ever. Secondly, the resistance we feel. Let go of resistance. Allow the resistance to be there. In the allowing of it to be there, it will naturally start to go away. Ask yourself, what belief would I have that this is the case? And then thirdly, you can let that go. And then thirdly, what you can realize is the true degree of change is not whether the outside actually changes at all. It's whether you have changed on the inside, regardless of how the outside has changed. But at the paradox of that is that then things will change anyways. That's just how it works. You just have to hold your frame, let the old momentum run itself out, and then everything will change for you. So another part of this process is understanding our subconscious mind. And if you want to learn how to change your subconscious mind, I've made a MP3 that will help you to do that. It uses NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's very powerful. It's going to be in the top of the description box below. So if you want that, you can listen to it. I recommend you listen to it for 21 days and you get a maximum benefit out of it. Also, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, go ahead and follow me below. I also do more live meditations and do different stuff over there, plus daily content. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification gear next to the subscribe button so you can see the daily vids that I do. That's the way YouTube does things now, so you actually have to hit that button to see the daily vids. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.